If I could have your attention, please. I think that we feel confident that we have the room sufficiently organized that we can begin. Well, things are assembling even as I speak, but we will get it together, I'm sure. My name is David Horner. I'm the president of the American College of Greece. I have been president here for 6 years, and I come from Boston, Massachusetts. I was born 50 miles south of Boston, and so in a way I have followed the path of the founders of this institution from Boston, Massachusetts to this part of the world. I feel very fortunate to have found the American College of Greece at this stage in my career, and enjoy everything about working here, the colleagues, the country, the mission of the school. And it is a special privilege for us to welcome all of you from really what we consider to be sister institutions who share a common history, a common heritage that traces your institutional roots back to your school founders. Now, I don't know all of the schools. I visited several of the schools that are here today. Not all. I don't know all of you intimately as institutions, but I believe I can safely say we are all very rigorous academic institutions that take the academic calling of our schools very seriously. That's obvious in how we have arranged you now. I believe you arrived just this morning, and we said, welcome to Greece, get to work. And we're going to have you working in your groups soon enough. But in the midst of doing your work together, which I'm sure you will enjoy, we have many special experiences planned for you, and I am certain that your days here are going to be memorable. I want to give just one piece of advice to you, and that is try the pizza over here. While you're working, I'm going to be over there consuming the pizza, but I'm going to leave some of it for you. But there's a lot of good food that I also hope that you are going to enjoy. So welcome to the American College of Greece. We're delighted that you're here. We hope you'll find a way to come back in the future, or that we will find a way to come and visit you in your school home. Thanks for coming, and best wishes for your experience.
It is my pleasure to add my welcome to the presidents. We have met, I'll just repeat for some of the ACI students. My name is Olga Julius, and I am the principal of Pierce. I have been at Pierce for 39 years. And the reason why I'm telling you this is that we really see a dream being realized. The dream being bringing administrators, headmasters, presidents, students all together. And it's not just that you've been brought all together, it is that you come from the 6 schools, 7 including ours, the 7 schools that started with the same missionaries, the same dreams, the same visions. And spanning 4 decades with the first school that started in 1860, then we had in the 70s, 80s, 1880s of course, and 1891 I believe is when the International College of Beirut was founded. So you understand that we're talking about many, many, many years, but what I heard after your tour from some of your administrators is the fact that the sense, the smell, the feeling of this institution, which many of us who have had the opportunity to visit your schools also felt, is the same. It's almost as if these values, these principles, these morals from the 1800s continue to today. We are all very emotional. We're so happy to have you here, the younger generation, and of course with your teachers and headmasters. And we have a wonderful program, as the president said, planned for you with many, many activities. And all I can say is thank you for being here and continue this wonderful project and program for the future. Thank you. And now, after we finish, in just a few minutes, the administrators, along with Dr. Dimitris Andreou, who is our Vice President of Administration, you will have a special session, a parallel session, while your students are working in their groups, in the library conference room, which is right below us. So you'll be able to leave with Dr. Andreou to research other things and talk about other ideas. And now it is my pleasure to introduce two Pierce English Department faculty members, two members who have been here for many, many years, Mrs. Fern Deligiannis and Mrs. Ginny Deligiannis. Even though you hear the last name as being the same, they're not related. But they are related and they're connected with the love that they have in not only teaching, but advising and organizing all of the public speaking events that we have at the high school. So, Fern and Ginny are going to be your teachers for the next few hours. And we're looking forward to your presentation at the end. So, again, thank you and enjoy. Fern and Ginny.
Good afternoon. As Mrs. Julia said, my name is Fern Deligianni. This is Ginny Deligianni, my colleague, and we both teach English here at Pierce. Pierce is a junior and senior high school, and it's the high school division of the American College of Greece. And it is also our great pleasure to welcome you to Athens and to our school. We have a lot of interesting and fun things planned for this weekend. But first, although I know you've already had an opportunity to chat with each other, we'd like you to get to know each other a bit better. And to do that, we'd like to break the ice by playing a kind of game, an ice-breaking game. You're already sitting in teams, and you're sitting next to either the person that you're hosting this weekend or the person that is hosting you this weekend. So, Pierce hosts, would you please raise your hands? Thank you. All right, and you have a person next to you that you're just going to be getting to know. So, for the next 5 minutes or so, Pierce hosts, you're going to interview your guest and gather some information about him or her. Then, our guests will interview their hosts. Then, each of you and every one of you will have an opportunity to stand up and introduce not yourself, but your new friend. And, of course, sharing all the information you've gathered with all of us. So, to help you with this, we've got 5 questions here that you can use in your interviews. And now you've got 10 minutes, 5 minutes per interview, 10 minutes in total in which to conduct this interview. You've got paper and pencil so that you can make notes if you need to. And do try to find out as much as you can about the other person in 5 minutes. After 10 minutes, we're going to join together and report back to the group. Please enjoy yourselves. Interviews in about 2 minutes. Make sure both people have been interviewed. Question number 5.
I'm good, but I don't see I'm not.
Drawings and paint in her free time. She likes to watch horror films. When she grows up, she wants to be famous in some way, and she likes Justin Bieber. And she was grown up in Lebanon, and I would say that her special characteristic is that she is organized.
Hi. He's spontaneous, and he likes video games. He speaks French. He tries to speak French, English, and Greek. And
Okay, thank you.
in a band, and he plays the bass guitar. He likes to do sports, and he used to be in the basketball team, but then he quit because he couldn't find enough time to do sports. He lives in the city, and he speaks English, Greek, Spanish, and a bit of German.
Hi everyone, this is Zara. She's 17 years old, but she's in the 10th grade. Zara plays the piano for 10 years. She's in the 5th grade of the Royal Academy of Britain. She also does drama. She's an assistant. She's an assistant of the director, I think. Yes. Of the play of Romeo and Juliet. She also grew up in the United States, and she's a native speaker. Yes, I guess it's something like that.
And she likes searching brains and understanding how people think and behave. And she also likes physiology and organizing events. That's why she wants to be an organizer. And she's the head of many groups. And she's unique because of her creativity. Because she likes drawing pictures and writing and theater. And she becomes obsessed sometimes with an idea.
Very nice.
Okay.
Okay, my hostess, Vicky. Yeah, she's from the Pierce College. She's 15 years old, and she was born and raised in Athens, but she lived in Spain for like 2 years. She has a brother. When I asked about her future plans, she told me that she wanted to become a criminalist. And I asked what exactly, said that she wanted to go to crime scenes and collect like evidences, which is cool. And she also participates in like a variety of clubs like volleyball. And when I asked her what makes her unique, she told me that like she's the leader of her volleyball team, and she's also very social, which is also good for being a leader. And I think that's all. Thank you.
This is Alexandra. She's 17 years old, and she lives in Thessaloniki. She has a sister. She's 14 years old, and her name is Zoe. I'm sorry. She has 2 dogs. A bulldog and a Labrador. What else? She loves to travel. She likes to dance, to swim, and she's dancing for over 15 years. She's doing Latin and tango. Her favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate chip. And she likes hot drinks, sweets, and to organize surprise parties for her friends. Like me, she likes alternative rock and the Arctic Monkeys. She would like to study medicine. And she wants to live in New York or London or Paris. And she would like to play the violin someday. And her favorite series is Sherlock Holmes and Pretty Little Liars. I think something special about her is her smile and how much she talks, because she talks a lot. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's very nice, thank you. So, I've heard so many things about Christina. I don't know, it's a huge list that we made about things that we have in common. So, well, this is Christina. I think you should all grab the chance and meet her because she's a very nice girl, I think. So she's 16. She has a sister, her name is Stephanie, and has the same age as my sister, Zoe, but they're 14 years old. Her horoscope is a Scorpion, right? Scorpion. Yeah, we love the same kind of music, alternative rock. She likes Arctic Monkeys, Lana Del Rey. Her favorite food is pizza. Her favorite sweet is Ben & Jerry's cookie, kind of thing. She likes playing volleyball, and she grows up to become an actress, right? She wants to live in LA. We're gonna pick this up. Her favorite color is pink, and what I think the first thing she notices in everyone is his or her smile, and what I think makes her really special is the way she laughs. It's really, it's kind of cute, and that's all about it, Christina. Thank you.
Assemblies took place. It's called the Paniks, or Panika, and you can still see the stone platform called the Vima, or speaker's platform, from which the citizens exercise their democratic right to debate matters of policy. At the beginning of each session, the presiding officer of the Paniks Assembly would formally open the debate by calling out, in ancient Greek of course, "Tis agorevin voulete," meaning, who wishes to speak. Today, legislative bodies such as the US Congress and the Greek and British parliaments engage in debates. Debating is also carried out for educational purposes, usually associated with educational institutions like ours. The goal of the study of debate in schools is to develop the ability to argue rationally from either position with equal ease. This is a particular benefit to young people who in future will be required to debate and form policy, to resolve matters, or simply to be persuasive in a professional environment, whether in business, in courts of law. By studying debate, students learn the meaning of the Greek words logos, ethos, pathos. And the members of the debate club can explain that further if you need an explanation. So very basically, a debate is a structured discussion on a topic, which we also call a motion, that has two clearly supportable sides. One side is in favor of the given statement or motion, and this side is called the proposition, or in other styles of debate, it's called the government, and the first speaker is actually called the Prime Minister. The other side is against the motion and is called the opposition. In a debate, you may be called upon to support a point of view which is not your own personal view on the motion, but in fact the opposing one. The prop side must provide arguments to support, the op side must rebut these arguments, but also propose an alternative to the motion. A debate is presided over by one or more judges. Today we don't have any judges. This is an informal debate we're going to be doing. And the judge or judges decide on a winner. According to the rules, competitive debate takes place at the local, national, and international level. Pierce is a member school of the Panhellenic Forensics Association and competes in debates at the tournament organized every spring. Also, here at Dury, there are 2 invitational debate tournaments each year, along with other smaller competitions organized by other schools. We also take part in Harvard Model Congress Europe, where very lively debates take place with the purpose of coming up with proposed legislation or resolutions. So, let's just talk a little bit about what a debate at the Panhellenic Forensics Tournament might look like. We actually have adopted the style of the World Schools Debating Championship. That's what WSDC stands for. And in fact, there are 2 teams of 3. It looks like there are 4 speakers, but I'll explain in a moment. 2 teams of 3. So each, and that's the prop on one side, the off on the other. First speakers, second speakers, third speakers. I'll explain that each speaker has his or her own role to fulfill. The first speakers are meant to establish their side of the case for their side and to provide definitions, to accept these definitions. In other words, they decide right from the start what it is exactly that we're talking about. And we'll be doing that a little bit today. The first speaker for the opposition then comes up and either accepts or does not accept those definitions and sets up the case for the opposition side. They have to have their own case. So the opposition doesn't just disagree, but they have to have something to say of their own. They have to have something to propose. The second speaker picks up where the first speaker has left off. So the second speakers have to, of course, agree with the first speaker of their side, plus add something new to the debate. We need new material, a new argument, new information. They also, though, have the advantage of having listened to the first 2 speakers so that they engage in what's really debate, and that is rebutting. In other words, they begin to clash with each other. They begin to argue and try to tear down, in a way, the case that the other side has brought to the debate. The third speakers then, of course, they continue to disagree. They don't add anything new to the debate, but their job is just to rebut. In other words, their job is simply to try to persuade the judge or judges that the other side has got it all wrong and we have got it all right. And finally, the reply speakers are not a 4th speaker. I mean, they're not a 4th person. The reply speaker can be either the first or second speaker getting up for a second time. In other words, the third speaker doesn't get up and do the reply speech, but the first or the second. And the reply speech is basically a summary of the debate, sort of like the closing statement that you hear in a court of law. You know how at the end of the trial, after all of the evidence has been presented, the defense attorney and the prosecuting attorney get up and make a closing statement trying to persuade the judge that their side is right. And that's what we do in debate. The reply speaker is something like that. All right. Today, we're going to see what it's like then to come up with arguments to support one side or the other of a motion on an environmental issue. There are members of the Pierce debate team here to help you with this, because I know that most of you have not done debate before, and I just want you to see this as a fun game and not as something scary. It's not. In fact, most of the people here will tell you that they do it, not only because it will help them in their future, but because it's just fun. You're going to have about 20 minutes now to work together in your teams and brainstorm to find as many arguments as you can. I know that you, although you were not asked to do any preparation, you're not expected to do any preparation, but you all have general knowledge and you can use your general knowledge to come up with reasonable arguments. All right? Now the teams in this row here, please have a look. Demi? The teams in this row are the proposition side, And I'm sorry we have an uneven number, so there are 5 here. You'll have to come up with at least 5 arguments, hopefully. And on this side, of course, you are the opposition teams. When your preparation time is up, we're going to ask just one spokesperson, so you should appoint a spokesperson before we start. The one person who's going to stand up, come up here, and tell us what you thought about in terms of arguments, all right? And the motion that you're going to be debating on is, this House believes that the dangers of global warming are more important than the costs of dealing with it. All right. Have fun.
So we need so we should say that
hurricanes. Okay. And you said something about economy.
So hurricanes cause damage and they
Arguments about that reason.
she's gonna be in, we can proceed. Right now, it's destroying the and this car, yes, this car that was invented with it had no fuel. We need to ensure that it's friendly with the environment. So you can say that
We'll have more economic damage than wood plastic. So we got to put it in words. There will be
one of the arguments they've come up with, and there's something I didn't tell you before, I'll tell you now, to make the debate a little more lively, as the speaker is here making his or her speech, any member of the other side, goes both ways, can do what we call make a point of information. That means that somebody stands up very politely and says, on a point of information, please. And the speaker may either accept it or say, not now. You can try again later. And try to answer it as politely as you can as well. All right, we're going to start then with the proposition spokesperson here. Who's going to be our spokesperson? Come to that microphone. And who's the spokesperson for the first opposition team? Team 9? Please come up. Everybody else needs to listen, because if they give us an argument, you may have to come up with another one. We cannot present the same argument. I've got 4 or 5 each. Everybody ready?
Madam Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, winter is coming. I'm not going to give spoilers on the upcoming season of Game of Thrones, but to start our debate, we must first attain a comprehensive grasp of the definition of the motion that we are going to discuss today. So the motion is, this House believes that the dangers of the global warming are more important than the costs of dealing with it. So what are the costs of dealing with it? Can you think of any other costs than the financial costs? We believe that that's not the case. We believe that the only cost is the financial cost. But if you look at the dangers of the global warming, if we do not deal with it, we have the financial costs, and in addition to that, we have the biological costs, we have the natural costs, and we have the human-related costs. So once we don't deal with the global warming, we are going to be worse and worse off. So before I go on and explain how the winter is coming, I would like to ask you if any of you have ever felt colder in recent months. Because if you ever watched the news, which I believe you have, we have seen the polar vortex in the United States, and we have seen the floods in the United Kingdom. My friends, these are not natural causes. These are not natural events. And we have caused this problem. This is not a natural cycle. Yes, we have caused this problem, but what matters right now is that we can fix it. So please do it. Thank you very much.
Have you debated before? So listen, the argument number 1, can you write this just a minute, please? How should you write it? That he made this problem.
Yes.
Yes.
This is not a natural cause.
Is that good?
Yes.
Man has caused the problem, so by man we mean humankind. Man has to fix it.
Thank you very much, sir. You stay here, please. Madam, for the opposition.
Hi, everyone. The proposition side has stated their definition as only financial. However, we totally disagree with this, because we believe that the definition of our motion, and especially costs, are not only financial, the costs are making of course, it's economic, but it's also sacrifices that people have to do. For example, some people have to take the public bus in order to go to work instead of driving their own cars, which is making them lower their life standards. And instead of improving their life, they end up having lower standards, and therefore, they are having lower standards in order to adapt themselves to their environment, which is requiring them to use public buses in order to decrease the pollution and other aspects of global warming. And of course, we think we are come to a consensus with our group that the costs are economic, where where are we going to take the money from? Are we going to take money away from health? No, because health is above all, and I really think that everyone in this house is aware of that.
Bit of information.
Yeah.
Is there a luxury worth the risking of our future?
Could you repeat that?
Is our luxury worth the risking of our future? Mention the life standards lowering.
Of course, our luxury is not worth risking our future, but if we don't think about our luxury, then we're not going to be satisfied people, we're not going to be happy people, and if we're not happy people, then our future is already lost. Then where is it going to go? So, we can't take the money from health, because health is above all, and the money that is spent for health is really, really important, as you all know. And education, we can't take the money from education either, because education is really important, and it makes people become more aware of the dangers around themselves. And if we take the money from education for dealing with global warming, then we're going to end up having less and less educated people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let me remind you that you're welcome to raise points of information. Don't badger the speaker, but please, by all means, feel free to raise a question if you think it's the right time to do so. All right. We're moving on now to teams 2 and 8. One spokesperson from each. The teams, please.
Hello everyone. To add to the argument previously presented by Beden, we would like to start our speech by defining a term. Equilibrium, as you might have heard in your biology classes, is the balance obtained to keep factors within a tolerable limit. Like in our body, where a balance is obtained by keeping pH, temperature, or soluble gases within a constant range. And if that balance is disturbed, we might shiver, or sweat, or choke. This is what happens to our environment when we tackle its balance with artificial interference, as chopping down the forests, overhunting, or contaminating our water. Later, global warming, and thank you. Global warming, as its name suggests, is not just the increase in temperature, but it is the nature's reaction to such an imbalance, as it might be the shortage in water or food supplies, the contamination of water or soil, and the melting of the polar ice.
Point of information.
Maybe later. So let's take it on an individual. how these factors are going to affect a single person. If the water is contaminated, that person might get contagious diseases via water. And if there's a shortage of food supplies, prices might go up, or a lack of vitamin or another nutrition might occur in this individual. And an individual might react to such a situation to show his disdain, anger, or despair to superiority, which is government in that sense. And other individuals with such ideals make up a mass which change the political climate of that society. And this is where I yield to my friend. Thank you.
So, I'm not going to describe this in so many words as my fellow delegate did, but I would like to point out that this political change, which may occur in countries, will be a result of huge waves of immigrants, of people who are experiencing these disasters of climate change and our need for money, mental and economic support to live and survive. So we all understand if these huge waves of people, huge masses of people come, then how countries are gonna help them? How countries are gonna change their own educational system, health systems to support and adjust all these people to their own societies and help them and in the end save them? Yes?
What can countries do it now?
I can.
How can countries do that now? But can they find money to do that now?
Well, what do you mean? You mean if countries right now, I don't have this huge problem of dealing with that because global warming, the consequences of global warming have not occurred in this high level as they are now. So countries are able to control a certain number of people, but if global warming gets worse, then how are they gonna? Our question is, how are they gonna help all these poor people who are gonna need our help, the help of the first world to adapt to the new circumstances? So chaos and anarchy are going to be consequences at the end of global change. I think this is really important if we consider the importance of democracy. Yeah? Thank you.
Based on the fact that many of the countries in the Balkans and Russia their economy is based on fossil fuels, and we stop using those, it'll lead to an economic crisis. So how are you going to deal with that if the countries don't have enough money to deal with the refugees?
Thank you for your question. Well, I believe that this problem is much more important than an economic crisis because we cannot put money over the lives of people who are in danger. Then thank you for your question.
Thank you. Let's hear proposition. First, and now for the opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We, as the opposition, continue to believe that this motion does not stand to reason. The proposition has constantly stated that man has caused the problem of global warming and that man has to fix it. Man has caused global warming, all right, but it is at this point not really reasonable to call this a problem or to advise everyone to fix it. This is simply because despite global warming being pretty much evident and the temperatures are rising, this gradual rise in temperatures has been part of the environmental cycle since early times. The temperature has obviously significantly increased since the Ice Age, and the opposition fails to see how this has destroyed life forms on Earth or made the Earth uninhabitable. Therefore, the claims that the global warming we face today will have a substantial impact on the balance of the ecosystem, and we think that it is not... Yeah.
Are you aware that only after the Industrial Revolution did we see such drastic changes in temperature directly correlated with the fact that humankind is responsible, fully responsible, for the shift in temperature?
Yes, we do know that, and we are aware that the Industrial Revolution and the activities of humans are causing this global warming. That is not the question in here. The question is that whether global warming is an issue that we need to handle right now. This is mostly because that it is not reasonable to claim that these changes will make the Earth uninhabitable. It simply means that the species on Earth will have to adapt and survive, pretty much like they have done for countless centuries already. And the opposition fails to see any models that suggest accurate predictions of what is to come, as I think we have all seen the models that were presented in Al Gore's The Inconvenient Truth, and it has been proven multiple times that these models were completely inaccurate. So, therefore, we think at this time it is not a good idea to extensively spend money on the issue of global warming. Let me finish the sentence, please. At this time, we don't think it is reasonable to spend this much extensive amounts of money on this issue, simply because we think we need to observe the results of this better, and then perhaps find the exact pattern between global warming and then the extinction of species and all, and then start to make our plan of handling this. As at this point, there is no reason why we would like to tackle this problem so abruptly. Yes, now I can take a question.
Do you think that worrying about our future generations is not an essential thing? And then also, are you aware that not acting right now might be too late for acting later?
What we think is that this is actually like spending extensive amounts of money on this issue right now without any actual data that suggests that the future will make the Earth uninhabitable is not reasonable. This is because we are going to have to spend a really extensive amount of money on this, and simply if the global warming, the results of global warming are not as dire as you expect them to be, then it will be a complete waste of money, and then we will be responsible for this. Therefore, we need to be patient. We need to see what observations will bring to us, and we need to find the exact pattern between global warming and then the change of habitats and the change in the ecosystem on the Earth.
Thank you. Do you want to accept another point?
Yes.
All right, and then?
Don't you think that the problem is already directly affecting us since we've already experienced natural disasters caused by global warming?
We have experienced natural disasters, all right. There has been this polar vortex in the United States and the floods in the UK. However, connecting those to global warming at this point is simply a prediction. It might seem reasonable to you. However, we simply don't have enough observation and enough data to actually find a correlation between global warming and the incidents that take place. So therefore, we need to wait until more of these incidents perhaps happen or not. And then we will be able to find the exact pattern between global warming and such incidents. And then it will be the time to plan and act.
Okay, so your opponents, you have recognized at the beginning of your speech global warming as a threat.
No, we have acknowledged that global warming exists. Not a threat, not a threat. It simply exists.
So could you clarify that you do not believe that the global warming is a threat?
Yes. At this point, we do not believe global warming is a threat at the ecosystem, or we do not believe that. I mean, it is. Let me answer one question. Okay. So at this point, global warming is happening. We are seeing that the temperatures are increasing. However, at this point, there is no proof that global warming will cause the Earth to become uninhabitable. There is no proof that it makes species go extinct.
Okay, so I would like to make it quick analogy. So we
ask a question, please.
As a question will be, so as a proposition, we believe that the global warming is a threat, and I believe that the House will agree on that. So I will make this analogy that you have this atomic bomb hit in the city of Athens. So we know that the bomb is here. It's a threat. We don't know how big it might be. We don't know if it's going to go off or not. So you, as a police force, will send
a certain amount of your group to search for a bomb, to annihilate that bomb? Or would you just say, you know, let's just wait, maybe it won't explode and we won't die, maybe it won't be a big bomb. Should we say that or not?
Okay, the situation here is that there is something falling from the sky. But as a police, we do not know whether it is a bomb or something perfectly harmless, like a small asteroid maybe. However, at this point, if it is a bomb, then yes, then sending your police force, well, it still won't be effective, yeah, but then it would be reasonable. However, if it is something else, and then you still send your police force there, then they won't be able to do what they do otherwise, which is to prevent crimes, I think, and therefore you will be wasting your precious resources on something that really wasn't an issue, because you didn't really examine the issue before trying to solve it.
Yes. Is your life more important, or the resources that you will spend? You may die in the end, so you need to like look at the paper and choose truly what you have to do, because life is the most important thing, like for a human being. So like not die to live.
What is your question, sir?
Does the opposition realize the danger that there is death danger in the end of this?
Okay, the opposition thinks that this whole would you choose life or would you choose your resources is a typical tree-hugger idea that is completely irrelevant at this point. Because the reason is that you simply at this point cannot prove prove that global warming will affect your life.
Are you aware of the news?
I am trying to answer the question.
And the same objection. Are you aware of the news? Are you aware of what the damage climate change do to people? Because we live in the first world doesn't mean that we're not aware of what happens to all these people who suffer in these places. You cannot abandon them and leave them for another time.
If you give an example to the incident that
Okay, we usually don't allow us to become a dialogue. Yes. You're now allowed to answer.
Okay, so these climate incidents, yes, they do take place, and yes, they do affect people's life negatively. However, for example, this happens all the time. This in Indonesia, in the Philippines, this is simply the monsoon. Or in the United States, every year there are these storms, right? But there is no connection between these incidents and global warming. You are simply at this point relating to all climate-related events. However, the point we are addressing at this point is global warming, and these incidents that have caused problems for citizens are definitely not proven to be related to global warming. They might be, but they are not proven at this point to be related.
Thank you.
All right, spokesperson from Team 3 and from Team 7, please come to the podium.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Honorable Judge, who stand here supporting that the dangers of global warming are more important than the costs of dealing with it. We, the proposition, stand firmly convinced that it stands to reason because we value human life much more than we do money. As a response, we have to say that by turning a blind eye to a problem, you really don't solve it. You simply create a false utopia. We need to face reality. When it comes to our arguments, we believe that when natural circle is disturbed because of the human interference, there is an escalation of events, an escalation of catastrophes as a chain reaction. As a result, more and more predicted and destructive phenomena will occur, and the human death toll will keep increasing. Secondly, we believe that economy was created to serve mankind and humans. We must understand the value of human life against money. It's much more important. We have to promote human life, not money that was created to protect it and help us prevail. Furthermore, the cost of recovering from a disaster is greater than preventing such a disaster, reminding us of the famous quote in Greek, "Το προλαμβάνει καλύτερο του θεραπεύει." To prevent a problem, an illness, it's much more likely than to cure it. We live in the era of being in front of the problem, not of confronting the problem after it has appeared. Yes, please.
Where will you get the money to prevent the problem then?
The money is, thank you for the question. We know that the money is a tool, the money that exists around us and is there to serve us. So, it's quite simple, but the only purpose for the existence of money is to serve us. If we question ourselves and we magnify a situation, we're 100% sure that we won't solve it. We need faith in us. Furthermore, maybe later, the flora and fauna are directly harmed as a fact of water temperature rising across the globe. As ice melts, the temperature of the ecosystems is disturbed. So finally, the species have to change their habitat, and we see many species dying in huge numbers. We don't believe that it's natural for human beings to die in their habitat. This is not natural. Yes, please.
Yes, but if you take money away from health, or make people pay more taxes, won't they die of famine or being too poor? And how is that protecting human life?
If a tidal wave devastates a city, would you be interested about the hospital or about the millions of people dying? In front of a catastrophe coming from global warming? When it comes to catastrophe from global warming, the danger and the stakes are much greater than any other case. We're not talking about some sick people, we're talking about millions of people dying. Thank you. Closing, I would like to refer to a quote that the human race, in its current course, will eventually die of civilization. It's about the civilization that has been constantly interfering with the natural course of things. Thank you.
Okay. Two ladies for the opposition.
Yeah. First of all, we would like to clarify that we're all for the human existence in this house, and to suggest anything that is against this would not be rational, as seeing that we are all human beings striving for the continuation of our existence. Therefore, we believe that in order to first solve the issue of global warming, and yes, we do recognize its existence, we have to address bigger problems that may cause more deaths, more poverty, and more hunger. Not now.
What now?
Okay. Yes.
So, could the opponent please clarify what those more important issues are? Because we would like to say, are they building, dams, higher buildings, or better roads, or better healthcare? If the floods are going to take down our dams, our buildings, and our roads, what's that money spent for? If the floods, if the rain, if all the natural disasters are going to take away all our human beings, then what's the better healthcare for?
If the delegate would have the patience, we were going to address those points in our speech, but that was only the entry of the speech. So we will be addressing those points in our speech.
Thank you. You're going to just make sure they do.
Honorable House, here today, unfortunately, our opponent is not aware of the fact that the world's economy is a ticking bomb. It's a fiscal crisis. You can't ask me points of information right now. I'm sorry. That it's a fiscal crisis waiting to happen, and seeing that, as we mentioned before, that there are many countries in the world which have an economy based on natural gases and natural resources. If we take those away from their hands, then we will be creating a world crisis, and this will mean that nobody will have enough money to make any natural resource like energy savings thing. Yeah.
So since you're talking about the countries whose economies depend on the natural gas and resources, let's say you had the chance to end all the wars. But the thing is that many countries' economies depend on making guns. So should we stop it? Should we achieve eternal peace, or let the war go on because countries make money from it?
Well, thank you for your question, but a state of war not being in the world is a very utopic way of seeing the world. It's not going to happen, and I think we all agree on this. But the fact that people create guns for money, it doesn't have much to do directly with our debate motion today, because yes, they do make money off of it, but that is not the main point here. It means that yes, it may make up a portion of their economic income, but it doesn't mean that their economy is only based on war stuff, material.
Yeah, then the economy is not based on natural stuff, right?
Wait, we're not going to have a dialogue, sorry. Have you finished your statement?
I will yield my position.
Okay.
We would like to answer your question, Medad, we would like to address the huge problems that are in the world today we first have to solve in order to create and establish a system that runs on renewable resources. These bigger problems that are prevalent in countries such as Guinea-Bissau, Ethiopia, and countries in Africa that are less economically developed are lack of infrastructure. These countries lack the infrastructure to trade between themselves, and their economy is not strong enough to provide a system that is able to create renewable energy resources. Civil wars are current in these countries. Military coups are current in these countries. Hunger, lack of water, lack of control over economy due to conditional loans, government corruption are all problems that we have to solve first. If we don't solve these problems, we are going to face a huge problem that is even bigger than global warming. So we don't believe that the cost is only financial. The cost may be equivalent to the death of hundreds of people. Yes, your point of information?
So you're suggesting that we're spending all the available money on aid to Africa and those people in need, and also to like infrastructure investments and all that. You're suggesting that, I think you misunderstood that we are not suggesting we should take that money from health and aid and all that other stuff, but there's like this consumption culture and this brandism or where you pay $100 for a t-shirt and now you say that we don't have the money to spend on global warming prevention. But the money is there. In a world dominated by capitalism, the money circulates. We have that money. We just need to know how to use it.
No. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. No, first of all, we weren't saying that we should stop help aiding African countries because of global warming, or that you were suggesting this. We're saying that these countries first have to have a stable economy, a stable political, a stable social situation in order to tackle the issue of global warming. And global warming, compared to these issues, is not that big. Therefore, your question didn't have to do with what we were saying. Your question is simply a misunderstanding of my speech.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're moving on now to Team 4 and Team 8. Is that correct? No. Sorry, it's 6. Yes, Team 6, you're right. It's my mistake.
Okay. Everybody is aware of the importance of the health, and our health comes before anything, like the economy or the money. And global warming, also the other effects, has a very dangerous effects on health also. For example, northern countries get warmer as a global as an effect of the global warming, and disease-carrying insects immigrate to northern countries, by which carries plague and diseases to these countries. So, also I know that opposition side is also agree that health is very important. If we don't have our health, there is no future. So we should be take care about our health and fund for global warming effects.
We'd also like to state that in the opposition side, first they said that health is really important and health has to be funded, so we can't fund global warming. However, afterwards it was said that we should risk our lives, we should gamble with our life. So they really contradicted in that way.
Point of information.
Sure.
Stand up, first of all, we were actually referring.
I wasn't referring to you though.
Oh, okay. But still,
Okay.
is the debater aware of the fact that that countries in Africa actually have a very low income, and if they want to invest in renewable resources like the energy creation, then they will have to cut from their health or from the infrastructure costs.
But there will always be problems, there will always be issues. Any country could be in a problem. We can never say that all of the countries will have the right economy to invest in global warming. So why should we do it later than early? Like as our ancestors once said, like if that's the universe is saying, you shouldn't leave today's business to tomorrow. So just you should know that. So okay, our point is that global warming has unsustainable consequences. We all know that. And if we do not fund it economically now, in the future, there will be many natural... can I finish my point? If you let me. There will be natural disasters which will lead to economic destruction, like there will be hurricanes, and then, for example, the whole land of like a whole country can be destroyed, and then you have to build up again. And if we don't fund now for global warming, in the future, when these hurricanes happen, again we'll have to deal with economic crises. So we should know that if we don't deal now, in the future there will be again economic crises more and more. Okay? I'll take it.
Your class sounds brilliant, sir, but what money?
What does it sound?
Brilliant, sir, brilliant, but money can you fund this?
Now I just got a phone call from Calvin Klein, and he said he'll donate his money to our association. So, thank you. Yes?
How can we treat the damage global warming will supposedly cause if we don't have any money to be able to afford health care?
Calvin Klein.
Did you saw all the problems in Calvin Klein?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So like there are people who think about the world, and they think about the future, our future, like their children's future too. So they think that our world has to be really built up in a good environment. Yes. Sure. Yeah. No, but
point of information.
So another point, sorry.
You have said that Calvin Klein will pay for all the changes you're supposed to make.
Good friend of mine.
Yeah. How is he exactly supposed to solve this problem that you just yourself just
suggested that was caused by industrialism itself. Is he going to get rid of all the factories, all the chemical processing plants all around the world? And why would he do that, since he's actually producing and selling stuff, and I doubt these are made outside factories, right?
I couldn't get the question.
Okay.
Could you state the question?
Yeah, you suggested before, like, the proposition suggested before that the issue of global warming is related to industry, right? The industrial revolution and what has happened out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Not the only reason, no.
Yeah, okay. And with the industry, we think that it is impossible to produce stuff without generating waste and without, like, even in small amounts, impacting the environment, right? So how is Calvin Klein planning to get rid of global warming? How is he going to stop the industry entirely? And why would he do that while he is making money by selling products that he has produced through this industry?
Now, in the 21st century, what do you call it? Science and technology increased a lot, so this is going to be solved by putting filters and put the waste in another way, like people, young education, as we are funding education too. People are graduating from getting great diplomas, and with those diplomas they will produce new products, and with those products we'll do it.
Thank you very much.
Let's say Calvin Klein founded, and also my gene is founded, all the things, all the money, and we have a lot of money, yes, and we have in one way poverty, and then we have a global warming, that we have only the weather is only decreased 5 or 6 centigrade. So will you fight against the poverty, or will you fight against the global warming? So I know the global warming is a problem. Yes.
You just said the change was only around 5 degrees. How do you know that the change is only around 2 degrees, and if the temperature, overall temperature decreased by 5 degrees, we'll be dead by now? So please get your facts straight and then...
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Also in Turkey we have some problems, like you said. Right, we can't find water, I know. But also we are using a lot of water than we need to use. We are not preventing the problem, right? We are trying to prevent it with, with not our movements, right? You are trying to say that okay.
Why would we have to choose if we were to fight against poverty or global warming? We can split whatever we get to fix one of those problems halfway and fix both.
Will you give more money to poverty or more money to global warming?
No,
I am asking to you.
The same.
The same.
Yes, for whatever.
Dialogue, please. Have you asked your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I ask?
No, not a question. You can ask him a question. You're a speaker.
Okay. Right. This is actually our good perspective, right? We are trying to solve the problems when the problems is really big, right? If you die from poverty and you can't find a food to eat or something, right? And you will die from a global warming. Yeah, you can die from global warming in in a very bad sequences, 5 or 6 years ago. But the people are dying from poverty now when we are talking about this topic, right?
warming, but one of the effects of the global warming is droughts and floods, and they cause poverty too.
Okay. Thank you very much. And now, I have a question for Team 5. Would you like to add an additional point to the prop side, or would you like to do the reply speech for the whole proposition? Both. Then what if we, because if you remember in the order, I didn't point this out, but in the reply speeches, at the end of the third speeches, let's say we had that, the reply speaker that speaks first, in other words, the speaker that sums up, is for the opposition first. So that means that the debate opens and closes with the proposition. So could we have one person from any of the opposition teams who would be willing to summarize? We have good notes here. Okay, we'll call you up in a moment. First, someone from Team 5 who will come and give additional points for the proposition. It's a little bit uneven, but that's okay. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the future is a cumulative result of the decisions we make today. And right now, humanity is making all the wrong ones. We are consuming more fossil fuels, purchasing vehicles with more horsepower, short-selling our future to chase an ossified idea of personal yield. We are individualizing on an issue that requires ultimate collaboration. Make no mistake, sacrifice is unavoidable. We will have to endure lifestyle changes, and there will be radical shifts in the energy arena. But never is the individual benefit greater than the benefit of the many. Tackling this issue requires us to find a common denominator and to put aside differences to attain a sustainable world. A world that we will be proud to leave the children of tomorrow. For so long, mankind has juxtaposed itself with God and adopted to this oblique sense of power, only to see it come back and bite us in the back. How do you justify spending billions of dollars in oil drillings when a fraction of that amount can be used to preserve wildlife? That is undefinable. We made this. We are responsible. No amount of bureaucracy or no amount of prevarications will shift the truth. This is the inconvenient truth, and it is hard to swallow. I give you that. The problem is man-made, and it is up to us to solve it. There being more CO2 in the atmosphere than any other time in 8,000 years, fact. The sea level rising 8 inches, most noticeable in the last 20,000 years, fact. The economy shifting by pursuing a natural cycle is at best a speculation. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, the economy has shifted before, and it will shift again. The economy is an amorphous entity. It relies on us to give a direction. But it's us who has failed to make that sacrifice, which is something we should not be proud of. Honorable delegates, for the given issue, time is essential. As we leave this to tomorrow, there will be no tomorrow. Global warming threatens our perspective on life, our outlook on the future. It is the fundamental element that destroys the fabric of our society. Of course, Wall Street fat cats and greedy oil tycoons will say that this topic is superfluous. But I say to them, only when the last tree is cut, the last fish eaten, the last stream poisoned, will you realize that money cannot be eaten. Thank you very much.
Would like to be the reply speaker. Someone would like to summarize the case of the entire proposition. I'm sure you can do it. Would you like to stand here? We don't usually do it that way, but that's all right. And we need a volunteer from the opposition side. Anyone from the opposition side? Notes here, please. Start with the opposition replies here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So the House has seen by now that 4 or 5 different speakers of the proposition stating the same thing over and over again. They claim that our lives are more valuable than our resources today. However, they have yet to support and prove that our lives are directly at danger today. As we can see, looking around us, there are many problems we face in the current situation in the world today. In fact, the speaker of the proposition has stated that the future is a direct result of what we will do today. However, what is more of a direct result is that today is a result of what we do today. And today's problems have priority over the problems of tomorrow. We have poverty, we have civil wars, we have issues between religions, we have all sorts of problems that in the world that we know that exist today and that we know that they affect human lives every day. However, this whole notion of global warming affecting human life negatively, it is simply a claim. While it may be true, we are not saying it is not true. It may be true, but it is yet to be proven. And therefore, we need to wait, we need to be patient, we need to see how it affects human life, how it affects the ecosystem, and then we need to solve this with tomorrow's technologies and the opportunities we have then. Because, as we said before, with today's technology, it is first of all, it is not possible to solve the issue because we cannot simply get rid of the industry. It is simply not. It doesn't make any sense that we are saying that the industry can simply use filters to not release any harmful chemicals. As even if you filter something, you eventually have to release it, right? And where are you going to release it? These issues are still not addressed. Therefore, we need to wait for science and technology to find better solutions for this idea. But instead, if we choose to try and tackle this problem today, we will be trying to tackle a problem that A, has not proven to be that lethal yet, B, that is not solvable with the resources we have today, and C, will be a waste of the resources we have today that we can use for solving other problems that we know exist today. And they are really not hypothetical like this one. These problems, the starvation, the civil wars, they exist. They are real. So we suggest that all of you get real and all of you focus on the issue that we face today instead of what we may or possibly may not face in the future.
Well, we'd like to start by saying we have emphasized the same message over and over and over and over and over again because it has been perplexingly difficult to reach the opposition. The opposition simply disdains to understand, which is quite interesting. Reliance on material goods is what has brought us here in the first place. Reliance on an illusion, a dream, something that has always been there, always been up to us to attain. Reliance on that has what made us talk these issues right now. We have put these items in front of our future. We have put a price on our future, which is the most difficult issue to solve. And what we surprisingly see in the opposition is that they have put this price far before us, and they are reluctant to change that price. You say that we do not have the resources to tackle this issue. I say that as nothing but fluff. We always have the resources to tackle the issue. We just never have the man-courage to tackle the issue. The bravery is what differs men and great men. And right now, when we have the chance to be great men, staying and hiding behind a prevarication yet again shows the quality of men we are. And that is not an adjective we want to take on for the rest of our lives. Right now, we do have what it takes to change this. Even if you try to sell this out as we do not, that is nothing yet again but a lie. So we say to you that if you wait 10 more years to get the adequate technology, there will be no world to save. There will be remnants of a world that may have been, but a world that we have sold once again. Thank you very much.
I think we have to agree that this is a really top-notch debate, and I have to tell you personally that it surpasses by far any of my expectations for today. I didn't know whether you'd like it or not, whether you'd be engaged or not, and I have to say that if I didn't know better, I would think that I was at a debate tournament with very experienced debaters. You have our congratulations. We're very impressed, very happy. Hope you had fun. You're very articulate, you're very knowledgeable, and apart from, yes, and very polite. And also I'd like to say that if we have people like you coming along into the next generation, I think that there's a lot of hope for our world. Now I have a little surprise for you. Please stay in your seats. Surprise.
We have a piano player here.
Again, congratulations to everyone. Happy birthday. Again, you were wonderful. We hope you have a wonderful evening with your host families, which we're sure you will. And tomorrow morning, Acropolis Museum tour. Okay, so have a great evening.